I took my first trip to Alaska in 1987. And I went because there was a project I was working on as a photographer with a writer that I worked with. First place we went was Prudhoe Bay. And I was amazed at, all these things we hear about how the oil industry are such careful stewards of the environment. And I immediately saw that that wasn't true. And then we flew over to the coastal plain of the Arctic National Wildlife Refuge, and the contrast was so incredible. And I think being a photojournalist that you have to hold on to your objectivity if you're going to be effective. And after the first couple hours on the coastal plain, I had totally lost my objectivity and didn't realize it at that time, but became, at that moment, an activist.
Grassroots support.
People come here and they ask me, how do I do this? And I tell them, look, this work you want to do, protecting the Arctic Refuge, the most important thing about it is begin. Start now. Understand who you are and the power that you have. Be grateful that you live in this country where you can exercise that power.
So Godspeed to all of you.
Looks like he's for the Arctic, but he's not convinced on the Tongass yet.
He did vote with us on the Tongass, let me double check.
Yeah, he did.
He did.
Yeah.
They're your next door neighbor. They're the person who runs the gas station, the person who owns the store, the person who teaches your kids. They're everybody that you know. They're a cross-section of who we are as Americans.
I've been to Alaska twice, and I don't know, it's like nowhere else on the earth.
You're not a professional lobbyist. You don't have
No way,
to.
you can tell.
It's all about the heart, yeah?
Yeah.
And just coming as a citizen, just coming.
They begin to understand how powerful they are as individuals, and particularly when they can exercise that power in a good way, in something that has a positive result. Who they are, they're Americans doing the American thing. What did you think? This woman came up to me and told me that her daughter, who turned out to be Savannah Rose Walters, had studied the Arctic Refuge in school.
When I was in second grade, my class studied the Arctic, and I just fell in love with it. And then my mom saw Lenny's slideshow. Lenny had told her that the government wanted to drill the Arctic for oil. He also told her that Americans waste 4 million gallons of gas each day by not properly inflating their tires. So when my mom told me that, I just wrote, why don't we just pump them up?
So she called up Goodyear, and they sent her 1,000 tire gauges. And maybe we could pass around this little box that happens to have these tire gauges in it. And several months ago, Savannah Rose's mother, Sandy, got in touch with me and said that Savannah had been working with some of her friends, and they were interested in starting these Pump 'em Up chapters in their schools across the country.
You're 12 years old. God bless you. God bless you. You're making an impact. Are people listening? They are. What's wonderful about this institution is its potential. You can come back and you can continue making the fight like we're doing again on this. So you just keep it up. Okay? And you're looking.
I've read a little bit about it, but it's nothing like being told. Go ahead. Tell me.
If Americans would properly...
One person can stop Congress in their tracks. One person can wake up something in another person.
The Alaskans want drilling up there.
Some of them do.
Yeah, well,
we've been talking with a lot of Alaskans this week who don't. And
all of it starts with one person. And that's really all that's necessary. People often ask me, how do you think you're going to win? You have to understand the depth of your commitment. And I think that the people who are our opponents, I think the one thing that really frightens them is commitment. Because when they go home at 5 o'clock at night, they leave their power at their office. Where in our case, an activist, your power is always with you. I don't see how you can beat that. We have to win. It's not an option.